and thank you for watching The Righteous Kitchen, a cooking and baking blog found at www.therighteouskitchen.blogspot.com. I am excited to share with you this recipe. It's for Leanne's spaghetti pie, and it is a baked spaghetti. It has very much the same ingredients as lasagna. So Leanne is a very close family member. She is my sister-in-law. Not quite by marriage, but she's the mother of my nephew, and we just consider her family. So she was nice enough to share this recipe with me, and it has become a family favorite, and you're gonna see why. But before we start, I want to take 1 second and kind of give you a view of my kitchen right now and kind of explain a little bit to make this easier for you when you start to make this in your home. So hang on, I just got to stir this pasta real quick. Okay, this is a recipe where you'll do yourself a favor just to have everything measured and prepped and ready to go. I've got my ingredients out, and then I have a pot of pasta already started, and then I have the strainer at the sink. So you're going to want everything in place because there's a lot of grating the cheese and dicing the vegetables and those kind of things. So it's just easier to keep it all moving. So we have the pasta cooking on the stove, and I'll be checking on that in just a second. You want to cook that till al dente. And right now I'm going to hit this springform pan with a little bit of cooking oil. And there is something in my pan here. Let me wipe this off real quick. There we go. So this, hit this with some cooking oil. And then I always cook on a baking tray with my springform pans in case they leak or anything happens. They can be, any mess will be right there on the tray. So you want to get the sides and the bottom very well. And then we could just set these aside and we will see them later. Alright, and now I'm going to check on the pasta real fast. My oven has just preheated to 350 degrees, and I have this skillet on 350 as well. I'm just checking this pasta, and it's going to go probably just another minute or two. You want it al dente because we're going to bake it when we get everything together here. All right. So to our hot pan, we're going to put some vegetable oil. And for the meat, I am using lean ground turkey that has been fortified with mushroom powder and kitchen bouquet browning and seasoning sauce. So we're going to cook this. And here's a neat little gadget that came from Pampered Chef, and I just got this. This past Christmas I treated myself to this. But what it does is it gets in here as you're cooking and helps break down the meat. And it does a very good job of it. So we're going to let this go and start to cook. And we can even speed up the process by putting the lid. And I'm going to check on this pasta real quick. Okay, we are looking for al dente, and you can see in the center there's just a little bit of bite left in there. So that is done. I'm just going to take this to the sink and drain this. We want this to drain very well. We'll just put that right in the sink, and it can be straining, and it'll cool off a little bit by the time we need it. Alright, so you just want to get in here and chop this up. That's still a little bit frozen. I had this in the freezer. A time saver for me, since I always fortify my ground turkey with the kitchen bouquet browning and seasoning, and then the mushroom powder, I always bring it home and then mix it up, and then I freeze it. So that's just a shortcut. So this has already been seasoned. Now with those seasonings in there, this is going to taste exactly like ground beef. Now you're welcome to use ground beef if that's your preference, or you can even use an Italian sausage, would be nice. Alright, I'm going to let this cook for a few minutes, and then I'll come back when it's time to drain the liquid off of this. Okay, this meat has cooked through, and I want to show you a little trick what I do to get any fat or moisture, any liquid off of the meat. And I just take a towel, a paper towel, and I just put it in the pan and let it absorb. Now there's not going to be a lot of grease in this. This is a 93%, I believe. Very lean ground turkey. I'm going to put this one close to the edge, and then I'll tilt the pan . See how it picks it up. Most of this is just water, basically. But I don't want this sauce to be soupy. So I'm just going to pick it up out of there. And this is a nice trick because you don't have to put it in a bowl to let it cool, or you don't have to dirty a baster or anything like that. You just use paper towels and then you're done. So there's that. Right into the trash can. Alright, so now, and look how good of a crumble I have using this little Pampered Chef gadget. So I really like that. Okay, we're going to get to the rest of these ingredients in here. And I will type up the recipe and put it with this video. So we have an onion, and we have 3 or 4 minced garlic. And then we have a bell pepper. And then we have some spices. I just went ahead and blended them all up. We've got salt, pepper, oregano. I put a little basil in there. And granulated garlic and sugar. Smells really good. Now what we're going to do is let these vegetables soften. Now even though this was ground turkey, you can still see it's very moist. That is, look at that. See how moist it is? That's because of the ground mushroom powder that I put in there. It retains the moisture. Alright, I am going to put the lid back on here for a few minutes and let these vegetables soften, and then I will be back. Okay, let's look at this. Alright, everything looks great. I'm using a vintage Farberware electric skillet. It's a pretty nice sized skillet. And you can find these. They probably still make them. I don't know if they. I haven't really looked, but I always tend to buy vintage cookware. You can find these on eBay or Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace. I like the Farberware and then the vintage Revereware. I like that really well. All right, this here is tomato paste, and then we have a big 29-ounce can of sauce. Now her recipe uses crushed tomatoes. You can do that as well. I tell you, I could just do a demo on this Pampered Chef stuff. I've got the little scraper here, and you know how I can scrape across here and not worry about it being a jagged edge and damaging this scraper is because I use the Pampered Chef can opener. It opens from the top, and it leaves this top of your can nice and smooth, which is great so you don't cut yourself, but it also doesn't cut your scrapers. So that's 2 great things about that can opener. All right, we've got our tomato paste and our tomato sauce. We're just going to stir this very well. Well, this is thick. You want it thick. You kind of want to get this stirred before it starts bubbling and getting y'all messy. All right, so what I'm gonna do is starting to bubble. I'm gonna let this simmer for about 10 minutes. That's gonna simmer. And I wanna put the lid back on, and then I could cut the heat down. I'm gonna cut the heat down to about 250. It was on 350. So let me scoot this out of the way. And I want to concentrate on our base layer, which is the noodle. So we have the spaghetti. Now, I boiled this in salted water, but I didn't add any oil. And I cooked that till al dente, where there's just a little bit of tooth left to it. Just a little bit of white left in the center. We didn't want to overcook it, because we're going to bake this. So to this layer, we are going to add eggs and butter. Let me get the butter in here, and then I'll just mix up this egg. And I will get my gloves for this. Now I'm going to need to mix up another thing, my second layer. And so before I get my hands dirty, I'm going to, the second layer is ricotta, Parmesan cheese that's been freshly grated, and mozzarella. Now if you don't have ricotta, you can use cottage cheese and then blend it. Okay, just put it in the food processor and make it nice and smooth like that. So to this ricotta, I'm going to add my Parmesan and my mozzarella. Let me see if she has anything else. Yeah, that's all she puts. I'm just going to use this knife here and get this all blended. Now this is going to be for 2 pies, so I'm going to go ahead, just kind of mash it down a little bit, and then kind of divide it so that as I'm working, I kind of know how much to put on each one. Okay, so that's ready. And I wanted to do that real quick because I'm going to get my hands dirty on this noodle layer. And let me give this, I'm going to turn this down to about 200 now because I can hear it bubbling away. And I'm going to give it one quick stir before I get distracted on these noodles. So that's going nice and low on the sauce. Okay, so this is the A 1 pound package of spaghetti, 2 eggs, and 2 tablespoons of butter. And I'm just gonna work everything together, just using my hands. And since we did this first, the noodles had time to cool a little bit. I mean, they're still warm, but you can still work with them. You just want to try to get that egg covering all the pasta. And then we're going to need to put these, we'll go into two springform pans. So we're just going to get our pasta, and then we want an even layer of that. And I have my other pan off to the side. I kind of want to see how we're doing over there. Okay. So kind of press them. They're not going to really like press, but kind of get them in there good. Cover the whole base. And then what's going to really seal everything in place is the ricotta. And this is why I like to use gloves. All right, I just gently want to get this ricotta covering all over the noodles. And then I want to press it down. Now this is going to help to lock in the noodle layer and keep the tomato sauce from getting all over the place. You want to make sure you cover the whole, all the pasta. Okay. Like this. The entire pasta is covered. So I'm going to come over here and do this one. It could even be easier if you start on the edge and then work your way around. Just pull little pieces off and then go around the edge, and then that kind of seals everything in there. Alternatively, you can make this in a 9x13 casserole dish. I just thought it looked pretty neat, made into pie shaped, circular shape. So you want everything covered. Okay, and then go around the sides and then make sure everything is kind of pressed down, because we don't want any of this white stuff getting in the next layer. So just do that. And then press it again. So it looks like this, okay? So let me take these gloves off. I'm going to touch up this other one real quick on the edges here. Okay. So both of these are done. Move them one more time out of the way, and then we'll look at that spaghetti sauce. Clean the top of these off. Clean the tops off. You want a nice presentation when that comes out of the oven. All right. Come back to the spaghetti, the sauce part. Now this lid is hot. Okay. I'm going to taste it and see if it needs any seasonings, any adjustment. That's very good. I think Leanne would be proud of that. The seasonings did not need adjusting. So what I'm going to do is go ahead, and again, this is for 2 pies, so we're just going to kind of wing it here. Make sure that we get everything in halvesies. All right, let's see how you can see on that. Get this lid out of the way. All right, let's see that you can see. Okay. Okay, so all I'm going to do now is just spoon the topping, this meat mixture, right over the ricotta. And I don't want to disturb the ricotta. Just place it on the top. I just go from the edge and then work on in there. right, now I'll get the other one. This is a very hearty dinner. Just keep it even. All right, so now all that is left is the cheese layer for the top. And that is, again, it is mozzarella and freshly grated Parmesan. And I'm just combining the two. Okay. You want to cover the whole top. Take it all the way to the edge. And that is it. Okay, these are gonna bake in a 350-degree oven in the center rack for about 45 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and put them in there. And I will bring them back when they are nice and golden brown. In the meantime, I'll finish up these couple of pans that are left. Get all my mess cleaned up. And I'll be back in about 45 minutes. Okay, these spaghetti pies have been baking about 55 minutes. And I'm going to go ahead and pull them from the oven so you can see what they look like. All right, here's one. And here's the second one. Those look great. Very good. So, 55 minutes is what it took. anywhere between 45 to 55 minutes. You don't want it really brown. I kind of like it just brown around the edges. Just like this. This looks perfect. So what I'm going to do is let these cool down slightly, and then I'll come back and slice it for you. Okay, while the spaghetti pie was cooling off, I took a few moments and baked up some garlic toast and steamed some vegetables. So I want to release this from the springform pan. So I'm going to take a knife and I'm just going to cut around the edge and stay right up to the edge of the pan. And cut that cheese that's sticking to the edge. And that's going to help to release it. Now I could just unbuckle this spring and pull it away. Let's just take a minute here and just look at that. How pretty. So you've got all your layers. You've got your noodles. This base with the noodle, and then that ricotta. That ricotta kept everything north of that. All this spaghetti sauce. That ricotta just sealed in the noodle layer and kept the sauce from seeping into the noodles. So that's key to this recipe. And then it also has the cheese in there to help keep it from merging together. So now I'm just going to take a serrated knife and I'm going to just cut through. Now this is a little bit warm and soft right now. The colder it gets, the more perfect your slices will look. Here we go. Look at that. Very nice. Then what I'll do is put my, let me wipe up this board a little bit. Hold on. I got a little spaghetti sauce right there. I turn this around and you can see the inside. So that's the inside. I'll finish plating up. So we're going to want a nice piece of garlic bread, and then I just have a vegetable medley here with carrots, some lima beans, broccoli, green beans, and zucchini. And there you have it. Leanne's spaghetti pie. It really is delicious, and I think it would become a fast favorite at your house. And I'll bring the camera around and get a close-up, but first I want to taste this. It's nice and cheesy. It's got those 2 layers of cheese. very good. Nice comfort meal. That's impressive. Very good. Thank you for watching. Please try this and let me know how it turned out for you. And if you like this recipe, please like, subscribe, and share. Thanks for watching.